gang. Welcome back for another episode of Try Not to Curse. Listen, guys, I have repeat guests every so often. I don't know if it's annoying for you or not, but here's the deal. I have like 20 people on deck to interview. Scheduling has been the issue. I'm back at work full time. Everybody else has lives. We're adults doing adult things. Shit happens. I'm very fortunate that I do have a handful of friends, Mike, Ron, Steve, producer Mike, my uncle, and my dear friend Abbie, who are willing to talk to me on multiple occasions to help me out. Because as you guys know, I really hate skipping weeks. And you also don't need a bariatric surgery update from me like every other day. So we're trying to mitigate those as well. So Abbie is here. Comic-Con season has ended. We're going to talk about our experiences. Again, because of the nature of what I do with putting certain celebs on the Christmas card every year, we are not going to mention the two celebrities that I met that are on the card, but we are going to talk about one of those experiences just because it was something that really set me off. So we'll talk all about that. But hi, welcome back, Abbie. Thank you so much for coming in at the last minute and saving my hide this week. I really appreciate you.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Liz.
So, so we did Boston Fan Expo, did New York Comic-Con, we did Rhode Island Comic-Con. Did you do anything else in between any of those? You went to some Broadway shows.
I think I did enough.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I think I did enough like in between.
Oh, Jesus, you're not. So my very first episode when I'm talking to Joe, he had asked, how much do I spend at each con? And at the time it was, I said, probably $1,000. That's what I think, between the tickets, the photo ops, Rhode Island fucking Comic-Con, you guys, they've ruined my life in a very wonderful, very privileged. I'm very privileged to be able to say I was able to do all 3 days this year. I was able to meet every single celebrity that was on my list, but fuck a duck. They had over 100 celebs there. Thankfully, like 25 of them. Yeah. Well, thankfully, like 25 of them backed out because fuck, man, like shit. So, but let's start from the beginning. So for someone who has never been to a con before, has an interest in going to a con, let's start with because like you've just recently in the past couple of years started going to cons. This is old.
Yeah, I did went to my first one in 2019. So that's 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So some cons, as we know, are bigger than others. The big ones being New York Comic-Con and San Diego Comic-Con.
I would put Dragon Con in there too. Like it's not like
that's fair.
Publicity level, but it like takes over Atlanta.
Yeah.
But
well, and it's also in multiple locations too. Yeah. So for those, the tickets do sell out. You have to really like keep an eye on your email to get the alerts about when the tickets are going to go on sale, especially if you only have a particular day you can get there. Other cons like Rhode Island, for example, you can buy tickets day of, you can buy tickets right there at the venue. I don't know if that's going to be the case moving forward as they, again, went nutso cuckoo this year with all the celebs. So we'll see what happens with that. But the number one thing is keeping on top of your email when you get those links, when they tell you it's like getting concert tickets, you guys. They tell you at this time, 10 a.m. on this day. It's usually like a weekday, which sucks for everybody that works. And it's
never at noon or like 12. It's like
10:15
in the morning. Cause that's when I want to take my lunch break.
Yeah. When we're all at meetings or whatever. Yeah. So you just have to be prepared, but I can't tell you how many people at Rhode Island this year, I was waiting in line and they'd be like, oh yeah, we just thought we'd check it out. And I'm like, God bless. I'm not built that way. I would just check it out and then I would never come back again. Cause it's just, you know what I mean? It's so much. It's like, you have to know what you're doing. I think, but, so what was the very first one you went to? I know you mentioned it in the last time.
Fan Expo.
Okay.
Boston Fan Expo. Cause that's my home. It's literally on my street. Like it's just at the other end of it.
Yeah. That's so crazy. I'm so jealous.
And I only did the one day because Jennifer Morrison was there. And my friend Sarah Tess, love her. She's obsessed. She's been doing this for years. And she's like, just try it.
Yeah.
And I
Good.
tried it, and I get the overwhelming feeling. And then we had a lovely pandemic that kind of
Yeah.
gave me some time to think about it. And in 2021, when they announced New York, they said, we're going to do New York Comic Con. She's like, do you want to go? And by then, like, I had missed enough celebs that had died or weren't doing cons anymore. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it.
Yeah. I wasn't even going to go that year because, they didn't have a ton of people and I was still very like pandemic weary. And I was like,
Yeah.
I just don't trust the streets. But James Edward Almos, that beautiful bastard, he was there. And Mary, what is Mary's last name? From
I'll cheat.
Battlestar. You know who I'm talking about.
I
Are
know
you
who
going to
you're
Google it?
talking about. I do. Yeah, I'm going
You
to Google
guys,
it. I'm going to
I
IMDb
suck
it.
at names. I really suck at real names. Like I'm much better at like, she was the president in Battlestar Galactica. She's also been in that other detective show.
Mary McDonald.
Thank you. So the two of them were there. How can I pass up? And again, you guys, you have to realize like, these are people that I grew up watching my whole life. They're only getting older. That's my whole thing right now. It's like, if I have the opportunity to tell Chemo that he taught me how to count, how to multiply by 9 on my hands from Stand and Deliver, I'm doing it. I'm going to spend the money. I'm doing it. And fuck, he was such a delightful man. And he was also at Rhode Island Comic Con this year. I waved at him, and so was Mary. And I waved at him, and he waved at me. It was a lovely exchange. But yeah, so again, you have to be prepared for Comic Con. You have to keep track of your emails, do some research about the area. Now you're amazing to me because you stay like right next to cons. Like you brave. I don't want to be that immersed in it. Like I've been in it all day. I don't want to run into these people in the hallway when I'm going to get breakfast in the morning. Mm-hmm. I'm really impressed by you. But at the same time, you see celebs because they're also usually staying close to the venue.
Yeah, last year last year was my first Rhode Island, and it is its own crazy piece. And my best friend from home that had never done a con, she's like, let's go. And I'm like, I'm always up for a con. I'm like, let's give it a try. And we got the Omni Hotel, which is attached to the convention center. We didn't know what we were doing. So we didn't know how it was connected or anything. So we're like, yeah, this is great. So we were there, and we were on the same floor as Mr. Feeney.
It's so wild.
And it was so great because I was so proud of her for handling it so well. Yeah. Like he was on his little scooter, he and his wife, and they're like went by us. And we got into our hotel because we just checked in. And I'm like, I'm so proud of how well you handled just that. She's like, what? It was just like a lovely old couple. And I'm like,
oh no. Oh no.
So I told her, she's like, you didn't tell me. I'm like, there's a reason I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was crazy. Like the day we were checking out, we saw everybody down there. Now that's strange to do that, to be that close. That was just dumb luck. But
even this year they had all the voice actors from the Uncanny X-Men from the 90s cartoon. And just because you use the Omni as a pass through from the mall to the convention center, and they were all right there getting coffee before the start of the day. And I was like, oh shit, like that. It's really cool. It is really cool.
Yeah. And that's where Dragon Con is really cool. Cause like it's the 5 host hotel. No, we didn't stay at one of the 5 host hotels. This is our first Dragon Con. We're like, we were off the beaten path, but we were on the shuttle route.
Yeah.
And we were by the aquarium where they have a big party one of the nights, which was really cool. I mean, we didn't party. We just went and like looked at the penguins and the huge tank. But that one, like, especially if you stay at, I think it's the Marriott, that's the one that's in Loki and in all of the movies, like that crazy one. It's the TVA. Have you not watched Loki yet either?
No, I have. Yes. Okay. Yes. I'm not caught up, but I've seen the whole.
There'll be some shade thrown during this podcast.
Don't shame me. There's too much content now. Damn it. There's too much content. I can't possibly get to it all. I'm just one person.
But the TV, that's that hotel. And that's one of the big host hotels. And like, you'll just see them come in and out. It's crazy, but it's really convenience. And it also gives you the luxury of being able to leave and come back.
Yeah.
Because like when we do D23, which we're prepping for this year, because this year will be fewer cons, but they're bigger ones.
Okay.
Because D23 is a big one.
Yeah. Oh God.
And that's cross country. But it's worth it because you get the panels, you get the first look at all the new Disney content, all the Marvel, Star Wars content, tons of free swag, and it's a lot of interaction. But it is cross country for us. It is, and then of course you have to go to Disney. Like you're contractually obligated.
Oh,
if you're next to Disneyland,
right,
you have to go.
Yeah.
So that's one of our
them's the rules.
Big ones that we plan.
Yeah.
100%.
We don't make
like
rules. We
really plan for. But that was the first time we went to a con and left during the day and went back because my friend was in costume. She was in cosplay. And it was like the hottest and most humid it had ever been in California. That's what everybody kept telling us. Of course. The one weekend we're there. And they're like, it's never been this hot. And she was in this beautiful Padme costume she has.
Jeez.
She almost went down. So
did she have face paint and everything?
Thankfully, no.
Okay.
She was in this one obscure one, but it was all like heavy velvet. Okay. And it looks beautiful. And she has this beautiful wig. Yeah. It looked amazing. I'm like, you can't go to Disney like this. You're going to pass out. So like she went back to the hotel. I finished the con. Then she came back in just, Disney clothes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the first time we're like, you know what? Let's find a hotel close by and let's leave. We promised ourselves we would do this in New York. And we did not do this.
New York is...
we just never left. We had all these plans and they just didn't happen.
New York is just another animal. And I talked about it in my last update about navigating, because again, I had the broken ankle at the time going to New York. So in the walking boot and all that bullshit. Oh my God. Listen, the con still was good. It was just, it was raining and it was crazy.
And then there was the awkward way they were handling ADA, remember?
Yes.
Where they put you guys to the front and
it all depended. And it changed day to day. So on Thursday, the rule was just everybody that's got a medical pass, just put them to the front of the line when they come up, have them bypass everybody, which I felt some kind of way about. Like, yes, that is the way it should be. But again, as someone who's been in those lines for hours on end, I understand the annoyance of that. But thankfully you could visually see what I had going on, where there are some people that, their disabilities are not visual. So people feel some kind of way. But and then as the con went on, they kept kind of changing up. And this is the problem that I have with every con, because Rhode Island was very much the same way. They couldn't figure out what they were doing with the ADA medical people. And, they kept trying to put us in with the VIP group, but the VIP group was bigger than a normal ADA group or the regular just general admission line. So more often than not with Rhode Island, I was standing in the general admission line, because even though they were taking 3 from the VIP ADA line and then 1 for general was still moving faster. So it's a weird animal, and I don't know if it's better or worse to have these medical passes, but I did, because again, being on my ankle and everything. But like I said, I bring a stool. I've known for years now, the lines are long, you bring a stool. But you and I go primarily to meet celebrities, as I've mentioned before. Yeah. But there's a lot of other things to do. There are panels where the actors come and talk about whatever projects they're in or past projects. There's a shit ton of vendors. New York in particular has what we call con exclusives that you can only get, supposedly you can only get at the con, or they come out a couple months earlier than they'd be available online, that kind of thing. So it's, so again, we're just speaking from what we do when we go there, but there's a lot that each con has to offer for everybody, every walk of life. I would say the big ones for me, the kind of extra things that I didn't have planned. New York always seems to have special celeb guests with vendors. So they have the regular, these are the celebrities that we know are coming. You can get your photo op, you can get an autograph, but then randomly a vendor will be like, oh, by the way, we've got the original Black Power Ranger and the original Red Power Ranger. Oh, and this table has Sean Astin for some random fucking reason. Why is Sean Astin amongst the vendors and the merchants and not with the other celebs? But he's here. And then randomly eBay this year had Ric Flair show up. So I decided to go meet Ric Flair. They did not have a medical line for that. We were all waiting in line for a full 2 hours before they finally started taking us to see him. And it was literally just for an autograph. But I got to watch Ric Flair get escorted to the bathroom by his security team twice. So that, so it's an experience.
Those are memories that these are memories hold dear.
I will hold with me forever. So the first time I knew he had to pee because he was back very quickly. Then he did his little thing with the eBay booth for an hour and turned right back around, went back to the restroom, took a little longer. So that's, you draw those conclusions. So it's good to know he's still regular. That's pretty much what I took away from that experience.
Well, and I have to give you credit for going to the show floor because it was,
fuck, man,
it was tight. Like we didn't go there at all on Thursday.
Yeah.
And then, Thursday afternoon, my friend went there for a little while and she told me where the Marvel booth was. So she had an autograph that I lost her to for, I think, 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, sure.
That line alone. And she's like, can you brave the Marvel booth? Because Marvel always has exclusives. Right. And they had a Loki Spirit jersey and a Marvel Spirit jersey.
Yeah.
It about killed me to get to that booth. And there was a holding line and then there was a separate. I give you such credit because you went there every day with a booth.
Well, I give you credit too, though, because I saw that Marvel business and I was like, you know what? It's not like a one-on-one with a celeb is one thing. Again, Ric Flair, very old. The man will not be with us forever. I will not get this opportunity again. The Marvel shit, I'm like, at some point, it's going to be online if I want it bad enough, whatever. I just didn't want to deal with all that crap. But the thing with being in line with Ric Flair, where he was, the Funko booth was also there. And they had shit going on constantly. So on the one hand, we were entertained because they kept having like this little show they were doing. They kept tossing out freebies and shit like that. But on the other hand, it was just always a crush of people trying to get through. And then the bathroom's right there as well. So people are trying to get to the bathroom. But I've got to tell you guys, and I say this a lot to my friends when I talk about celebs, and I know I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm talking way more than Abbie is, but everybody gets mad. Like, I can't believe, how do they justify these prices and, $60 for an autograph? Who the fuck did it? Listen. Ric Flair got wooed at every 30 seconds for 3 hours. I mean, they would just see him from across the room. Oh, there's Ric Flair. Woo! That all fucking morning. And that man listens to that every day of his life. And that's his life. If that were me, I'm charging you about $70 for an autograph so you can woo in my fucking face like you're the first person that's ever thought to do that. Just give me a moment. I have to yell at my cat. Sailor, could you get down, please? Seriously. Really? Every time, this cat. I'll tell you what. So I think about that all. And listen, Comic-Con has the smelliest of the smelly individuals. So imagine being a celebrity and you're being hit with bad breath after bad breath, body odor after body odor, sweaty handshakes, the flop sweat coming off people as they want to get right up next to you and take a photo. Charge whatever the fuck you want to. I get it. Sometimes it is a little gross over there. And I don't feel bad about it at all. I always pop a mint before I meet a celebrity. Always. Just little common decency, I feel. But how many celebrities did you meet this year? Because I maxed out. Holy shit.
Like, are you talking total? Or are you talking just New York or just
like I would
Rhode
say ballpark total. Because Rhode Island fucked us all up.
Oh, Jesus. Well, and it was crazy because, because we take this seriously, budgeting goes into this. Like my friend Sarah Taz and I are already planning budgeting for D23, budgeting
Sure.
for New York. Like New York and D23 start early.
Yeah.
Because you need your hotel. We want the hotel so close. Those sell out so fast because they do put, if not the celebs, the vendors.
Right.
Because we were in with all the eBay people. They're like, come visit us. And I was like, because like we befriended one of them while we were all waiting for our hotel rooms. And I'm like, hard pass after I saw the show floor, especially with all those. And I think it's great for anybody that's into anime. They had all those booths, like all those interactive experiences.
That's getting out of control too, though.
Cutting through there to get to Kid Cudi's Star Trek booth, about killed me and took about 20 years off my already aging life.
You guys, we breathe the same air as Kid Cudi. So cool.
And we went to his panel.
He's a Trekkie, you guys. So validation.
And I got to say, it was awesome going to that Trek panel with you because I love my friend for sitting through that panel with me because I love her. She does not know. And I'm spending like the whole time and I love explaining it. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, so this is this and this is this. But like, you got it. Like we could just look at each other. Yeah. And we're like, okay. Like, even though neither one of us is caught up on like Lower Decks, which was the only thing they could talk about.
There's too much.
Because it's the only thing that was made.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and we will be, now that the writer's strike is over, we will be writing all of these things. Because that's also, and I think that's something after I finally answer your original question.
It's okay.
That we should talk about too is the difference between going to a con not in the writer's strike and in the writer's strike, because it was a very different experience. But to answer your original question, over the year, it was about 50.
Okay.
I want to say it was 50, 60.
Okay.
We were very ambitious.
Yeah. No, but again, it's Rhode Island's fault. I've put the blame fully on Rhode Island.
90s Con was another one for me. I did the whole cast of Sabrina. They were in a line and I just went boom, boom, boom.
Yep. That's what I did with Breakfast
Club. And then Dragon Con was a big one for me.
Yeah, sure.
Because they had all the Trek. Whereas like, shockingly, New York had none, which I found interesting. That's the first year that New York hasn't had anybody from Trek. And especially with Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was strange.
I really lucked out. The very first New York con I went to was this.
This is the story I don't want to hear.
They were releasing
the one with Michelle.
They were releasing the Blu-ray of Next Generation. So they had everybody, including my white whale, Sir Patrick Stewart. They had everybody there from Next Generation. So I was able to meet all but Sir Pat Stu because he does not sign autographs. He only does photo ops. And they fucked that up on the schedule because they said he was autographing. So I had purchased an autograph, not a photo op, not knowing anything about photo ops. Yep. And by the time they made the announcement that, oh no, oops, we fucked up, I couldn't get the photo op. It was already sold out. So he is still my white whale. One of these days, I hope I'll be blessed to be in his presence. I don't think it's going to happen though, but I'm trying to manifest. And then I think William Shatner was there that year as well. And then it was actually the year before she passed was when Nichelle was there.
I know.
And then I met George Takei in Rhode Island, but yeah, so Boston Fan Expo, I wasn't going to go. I was not going this year. I did not enjoy it last year. It was so nuts last year. And you even told me, you were like, this was one of the worst years to go. I'm so sorry that's your first.
The experience. Hobbits was like, I brought my friend that had never been to a con.
Yeah.
And except PAX East, like, she's like, oh, PAX is not that bad. I'm like, oh, like what? Crazy con. But it was just so disorganized. And like, she bought the Hobbit 4 ticket. We talked about this the last time, but it's like, why were they not in a room for that amount of time and you just go down the line?
Right.
Like if you buy the 4 tickets,
right.
That should be a set aside time every day.
Yeah.
And they sign it. Like,
well, so let's talk about that too. So this is what people don't understand as well. So the celebs sign up. Some Comic-Cons are 4 days, some are 3, some are even 2.
Mhm.
The celebs may not be there all 4 days, all 3 days, all 2 days. They might just be. So Paula Abdul was at Rhode Island only on Saturday. Ming Na Wen was at Rhode
Ming Na
Island.
always does
Oh,
just
right.
Saturday.
Only on Saturday. Felicia Day has a really hard time getting out to the East Coast because she typically works Friday and Saturday. So when
And
she's
you
there,
finally got her.
I fucking finally got her. That beautiful
I was
bitch.
so happy to see that
God
picture.
damn, gorgeous. Anyway, so but then within that, a lot of these folks are committed to the panels, which are on a certain schedule. Their autograph sessions are on a certain schedule. Their photo ops are on a certain schedule. So again, if you just show up Saturday morning and expect you're going to meet all of these celebs, you're sorely mistaken, because that's just the universe will not accommodate that for you. So you, like I said, do your research, check out the schedule. The schedule is prone to change, as we also found out, especially in Rhode Island this year. There was something going on with the flights. Everybody was leaving Sunday, and something happened with the airlines, and half of the celebs had to yeet out of there before 2 p.m.
Well, Chris Sarandon left
up
early on Saturday too.
Yeah.
Like we got the notice that he left. He was leaving after he left.
Yeah.
And we
then,
were like,
right.
3:00, it's 3:30 and you're telling us he's leaving at 3. It's like,
yeah. And Ron Perlman, Charlie Hunnam, and Katie Seagal were all stuck in traffic coming from Boston. So they missed Friday completely. They were supposed to be there Friday afternoon. They missed Friday completely. Katie Seagal, I've got to tell you, her line, I've never seen anything like it. They actually had people upstairs waiting in line. They moved them to a completely different section. She just got so much love. I'm so happy for her. I was thankfully able to meet her. I got her autograph for producer Mike, who's obsessed with Married with Children, and I got a selfie with her, and she was very kind. But also, you guys, you have to understand too. So celebrities do autographs, they do photo ops. They've started doing selfies at their autograph table. Photo ops are in a separate area. They've started doing selfies at their autograph table. For a really, really long time, celebs fucking hated selfies. It really pissed them off when you would come up and ask for a selfie. They wouldn't even give you the time of day. Like, fine, they'll take the picture and then you go fuck yourself. Now they are starting to realize taking the selfie is for you. You're not going to be able to monetize off that experience. Whereas now so many fucking people have caught wind to this con trend that they're profiting off of it. Kind of like, the Disney shoppers, where they'll go and they'll pick up Disney exclusives for you at the park and send it to you. People are doing the exact same thing with autographs. So now we have people going to meet Felicia Day or LeVar Burton, and they have 10 things in their arms for these guys to sign, and they'll pay the fees. You have to pay for every fucking signature, and they'll pay. But LeVar Burton is sitting there knowing damn goddamn well that you don't know a Mike, an Agatha, a Sarah. You know what I'm saying? This is not for your friends and family that you're giving them at Christmas time. Your ass is profiting off of his signature. They are well aware of this.
If it's not personalized.
Yes, if
and
it's not personalized, people, which producer Mike is so guilty of. Producer Mike, I'm calling you out. He never gets it personalized because like 10 years later, he's putting that shit online.
That's what they say. They kind of look, and I'm like, oh no, this is for me. I want my name on it. It is on that Post-it, and you will spell it right.
And I spell it Liz with 2 Z's, baby. So there's not a market out there. So,
please, I'm an Abbie with an IE. So me and my grandmother are about the only ones I know that have it. And funny enough, Paige Turco's character on NYPD Blue.
Okay.
Because when we met her, because we had, of course, meet both April O'Neils.
I met all 3 April O'Neils.
I know Becca did too. And I had a budget, and then I played with the budget, and then I went, Abbie, you spent a lot of money this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's decide. And that's one of the things, like, you go into a con with, I'm going to meet all these people. I'm like, well, I'm not going to meet this person. I could never get into Shannon Doherty's line.
Did you not get to?
I couldn't get near her.
You should have. You really should have jumped in with me. I'm telling you, you should have.
With you.
You should.
But I
use the ADA to your advantage.
School guilt.
That's fair.
Girl, I was limping so bad at that point, they probably would have thought I was the ADA person. But it was just, I couldn't get in her line. And I'm like, you know what? I take that as a sign. It's not meant to happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're going to try 90s Con again. So maybe Liz will be joining us for 90s Con.
Here's hoping. We'll see what happens.
Considering
but
that's
again,
her home state.
Yes. So I know, right? So there are all these factors. So time, money, the actor's schedule, the con schedule, all of those factors collide. And then again, random, other scheduling bullshit. Like I said, with flights and airlines. And when I met Jason Momoa in New York, he was supposed to be there Saturday and Sunday, had to cancel his Sunday appearance because of his schedule. So anybody and everybody that had tickets for Sunday, if they were there Saturday, they were honoring those. So he went from probably having to do 500 photo ops to 1,000 photo ops. And it was pandemonium. So shit like that happens. And people, unfortunately, and I'll say this, especially for people who have never gone to a con before, it's their first time, or maybe it's their first time at that particular location or what have you, go in there with the expectation that nothing's going to go right and that shit's going to be a long wait, or that you're going to get frustrated and you're not going to see everybody that you intended to see, because stuff fucking happens. And when people stand there and piss and moan, I just look at them like, are you new? And they usually are. But you've got to have a lot of grace for these things, because these people are doing their best. They're putting on this insane venue in a extremely short amount of time, and stuff happens. But Rhode Island, it was too many. Rhode Island.
Well, and the setup was insane. Well, I mean, it like dumb, the stars were saying it themselves. They're like, there's too many of us. Like, yes, it's in, like, that's one of the things, like, I give Rhode Island especially, is they have a great variety.
I just don't get,
it was like
why
the craziest mix. But it's also like probably, and it's in two different buildings, and that walkway, I go outside and go back through security. Yeah. Because it is easier to go back through security than go up that one walkway.
And that walkway is smelly. That's the smelliest area of
you
the
can't
entire
breathe.
con. It's just body odor. Oh my God.
And it was just, and you're barely moving. And it was just like, this is not worth it. But you also have to take into account how they set up the con. Yeah. And this was a problem in New York. And this was a problem in Rhode Island.
I would say
those lines for the autographs were horrible.
I will say the one thing about Boston is they seem to have that pretty well. They've got enough space that they could spread people out. And
oh no, it helps that they don't have as many guests, because I think we had like I think we had like less than 20 this year, whereas every other Fan Expo had like 30 plus. Yeah. It's like we had like nobody, and it wasn't. Yeah, it could have been better. It was. I mean, you did David Tennant's autograph. That was insane
in New York. Yeah,
in New York.
What a sweet.
We couldn't tell what was his line. We couldn't tell what was Missy from Doctor Who. She was the master with Capaldi. Yeah. We couldn't tell which line was which, and then they're like, the line's capped with you. And then they put 3 other people. They're like, well, you have to have a QR code. You have to have prepaid. He's not signing anymore. Yeah. And then they were taking cash, and they were taking payments there. Like, it was insane. But in Rhode Island, I saw something I had never seen before, which is the fire marshals.
Yes. Yes. That's
again, when you were trying for Felicia and I was trying for Rose. It was, they wouldn't let us stand in line. They wouldn't let us stand off to the side.
Yeah. And they were there when I was in line for my photo ops for Cool Runnings and for the Breakfast Club cast, minus Emilio. Don't get excited, you guys. Emilio did not show. It was very upsetting. But
we had such hope too.
As Judd Nelson explained, when I got my photo op signed, he goes, "You were Emilio." So you know what? That's adorable. I'll take that. But yeah, the fire marshals came out and were like, "Y'all can't stand here." And we were like, we have no other place to stand, because this is where we have to queue up for our photo op, which is scheduled to start in 5 minutes. We're told to get here 10 minutes prior. You need to work it out with Epic Photo Ops. Don't be talking to us. We're doing what we need to do to get in our slot, because if you miss your photo op, you miss your photo op. It sucks. Yeah, it's so again, you guys, like as I said, we've gone to these cons multiple times. They keep trying to reconfigure the setup and let's set up the room like this and let's put the photo ops over here. And they still seem to miss the mark every year.
Yeah.
For me personally, Rhode Island, so this year, you guys, was really, really unique. And again, when we were talking about the writer's strike and everything, that's what I was saying. It was really strange because New York Comic Con really didn't seem to have a ton of celebs at all. And for some reason, Rhode Island had an insanely obscene amount of celebs. So they had the full cast from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, including one of the original cartoonists, the creators of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They were supposed to have both guys, but one guy backed out because of it. He has serious anxiety issues and he knew it was going to be a madhouse. And then they also had the voice actors from the live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle films, including both April O'Neil's and Chemo. They also had the full cast of Cool Runnings. Again, they had the full cast of The Breakfast Club. They had 2 out of the 4 girls from Charmed. I mean, they had all the Sons of Anarchy cast. They had every TV Superman. I mean, Dean Cain, again, lovely man. But so they had Barbara Eden, I Dream of Jeannie. They had, they had the guy from, what the hell's his name, from How I Met Your Mother. They had
Josh Radnor.
Yeah, they had a handful of Star Trek people, including Walter Koenig from the original series. So it really, and they had wrestlers. They had wrestlers off the wazoo. So for me, where they had that rotunda, where they had the guys from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoonists, the creators of the Turtles, they had them in this rotunda section off to like all the way in the end. That's where they should have. That's where they should have put the photo ops, in my opinion. Put the photo ops in there. It was a big enough room. You could have had people queued out in front. Maybe, I don't know, but no matter what, I understand that they're all trying their best. But the biggest issue that these cons have is communication. So, like we were saying with the ADA in New York, and then again in Rhode Island, nobody was on the same page. And you would ask one person something and they would tell you something, and then you'd go there and it'd be a completely different story. So again, a very good example of this. And again, I apologize. I'm totally manipulating the microphone here, but Gina fucking Gershon, we need to talk about this. So as I've said, people go there with 10 items to autograph, takes a little time. You can also get a selfie at the table. I'm in hold on a minute. This cat. Sailor, seriously? Just a moment. Talk amongst yourselves. Hold on. Are you for real? Like, could you stop? I just can't. So sorry, you guys. So sorry. This cat is just trying. She is trying me today. Anyway, so Gina Gershon, you know her from Showgirls. You know her from Face Off. You know her from Bound. Her line was one of the shortest lines I was in, but they also didn't have a separation between ADA, VIP, and general. So it was all just this kind of mosh, and we were all getting really, especially the VIPs. I paid extra for this. What the fuck? But get out of here. You're a sucker. You're a sucker at the end of the day. Sorry. So they were all getting up in arms, and I'm standing there, and I'm literally in her line for 20 minutes, and the same person is in front of her 20 minutes. And on the one hand, I'm thinking, wow, that's really nice. You're getting some real FaceTime with Gina Gershon. Like, what could they possibly be talking about? What am I going to talk to her about for that long when I get up there? Like, she must have like a index card pile of random things to chat about. Who knows? Whatever. 20 minutes. Then finally the next person. And okay, still I'm in her line. I think I was in her line probably for 2 hours, to the point where I kept debating just walking away. Cause at the end of the day, it's Gina Gershon. I like her, but I'm not obsessed. She's certainly not Oscar Isaac or some shit, So I finally get up to, there's about 5 people ahead of me in line after, I swear to you, I was probably in line for an hour and a half at that point. Gina Gershon, you guys, in addition to the autographs and the selfies, she also would sign, they all have different prices for things. If you bring a movie poster for them to sign, that's an extra cost. If you bring a Funko Pop for them to sign, that's an extra cost. It's all at a different scale. There was a woman at her table. And she had this big fucking poster. Had Gina sign the poster. Then she, in front of everybody, she's wrestling to get this goddamn poster back in its little temporary frame or whatever that she brought with it to keep it safe. Just standing there wasting it, and everyone's getting mad. Move to the side to get your fucking poster back in the thing. You don't have, what the hell? No, because then she had 10 other things for Gina to sign. Then she had to take a selfie with Gina. Then on Gina's table was a note that shook me to my core. Caricatures drawn by Gina, $150. $150, and Gina Gershon from Showgirls will draw your caricature in front of you. And this blonde bee had the fucking gall and cashola to get a caricature drawn after having 10 fucking things signed and a selfie. You guys, so that explained why the line took so long, because there's a sucker born every day. And some people apparently just have that kind of disposable income to throw an extra $150 at Gina Gershon for a caricature that I could have gotten for $10 in Times Square. Let's be honest. And she wasn't the only one. Then there was another person. Same thing, had her the caricature drawn on her leather jacket. Because when I'm wearing a leather jacket, I want people to see this strange cartoon of me in silver Sharpie and not have any idea what the fuck it is. Okay, $150 worth by all means. So you guys, I've just so that was probably the weirdest. I mean, next to Billy D. Williams. Billy D. Williams, when I met him at New York Comic Con, and I think I've talked about this, I was very sad and very concerned. I'm very concerned that there is a elder abuse situation going on with him, much like we've heard with Stan Lee. There was speculation that Nichelle Nichols had that going on as well. When you went up to Billy D. Williams' table, this wasn't this year, this was a couple of years back, he had 4 tables, all with different merch that you could buy right then and there. A lot of these people are cash only. No, they had the square. They're happy to take your credit card information. I want to say his autograph was like $200 just for the regular 8x10. And again, the man will not be with us long. I paid the money. I don't want to hear about it. But then again, when you walk up to the table, they're offering, this movie poster for an extra $100, this Funko Pop for an extra. They were making their money any which way they could. And that to me was a big red flag that really freaked me out, because when you get to him in person, he is old and his age is showing, and he was tired. So again, it's one of those situations where I felt like I was adding to the problem, but at the same time, I'm thankful that I got that time with him and I have that memory, but I walked away feeling not so great about it, but yeah, so I just wanted to. These are the kinds of things that you're going to encounter at cons. You're going to have great experiences. You're going to have some really what the fuck? A lot of really weird experiences too. But I'm telling you, Rhode Island Comic Con, New York Comic Con, Boston Fan Expo, Dragon Con, D23, San Diego, do not let the fucking actors draw caricatures of people. What the fuck, man?
Who knew that had to be our new criteria for stuff?
What the shit was that? I've never in my life, and I hope I never see it again, because goddamn, no.
You can put a smiley face on my autograph. That's nice.
I don't even like it when I don't even like it when the celebs write their characters' names on the autograph. I know who I know who that is. That's why I
love it when they do that. They're they'll put it in there, and I'm like, who you are. Because I think Brent Spiner, I'd have to look at it. Because he has been my white whale, because every con I have signed up for that he has supposed to be at cancels.
I'm so happy.
And I kept saying to you on Friday, because we were texting and we just happened to bump into each other, but we were waiting for our photo op with Vicki Lawrence.
Yeah.
And I saw him. I'm like, he exists. And then the cancellations started coming in, and or the people leaving early. Well, I heard one of the reasons was that they didn't know how far away Boston was from Rhode Island. And I'm but you got there.
But I also feel like that can't be true. They've been in the industry long enough. You've been to the East Coast. Stop.
Well, and then it was so funny because we were in line for Amy Jo Johnson because I decided
Yeah.
I had to get the next gen people from Star Trek, the next generation people,
Yep.
because other than Q and Riker, I didn't have any of them, so I was getting them.
I have all
I
those.
needed. I know. I'm aware, so aware. I got Tom Holland's autograph, by the way. Just a reminder.
That is true. Fuck.
I know. No, so like I was with Amy Jo Johnson and she was signing, and she said, "Are you from Boston?" And I said, "Oh, the accent, my bad." And all of a sudden her handler was like, "What time should we leave with the Pats game? Because to drive to Logan Airport from Providence,
Oh
you have to go
yeah.
by Gillette."
That's fair though.
So I said, "You got to leave early."
Yeah.
And I'm like, because that just the tailgating alone, let alone anything else.
And
I
I
mean,
have
we
been
left,
to,
we
yeah.
just missed it.
Yeah. And I have been to games at Gillette and that traffic sucks.
Well, because it's the stupidest place to put a stadium. There's one road in and there's one road out. Because
Yeah.
I saw Taylor there.
Yeah.
And that was
Jealous.
insane.
Yeah.
You're welcome. But it's
Same
like,
in
but it's
Australia.
like, I loved that. I mean, that's the great thing about Rhode Island too, is like the handlers and the stars are like, "So how long will it take? You're from Boston. How long will it take?"
Yeah.
And I said, "What airline are you flying?" Like, 'cause, you know, you got to go to the different, listen, if
Right.
you got to go to E, it's all the way over there.
Yeah.
Are we driving? I'm like helping them plan like their entire itinerary because it's like it's its own beast. Whereas New York is so like structured, and
Yeah.
Rhode Island
And New York is New York
just,
is New York. Everybody knows New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, so again, you guys, I know that we're talking about things that maybe you could give a flying fuck about, but if you do have any interest in a con or just, or maybe we've completely turned you off from going onto it, you're welcome. This is all about education. I want people to understand what they're getting themselves into. But I will say another great experience. I don't know if I shared this at the update, but there were a couple of members of the Guardians of the Galaxy in New York this year. I got a photo op with all 5 of them. I got Sean Gunn's autograph. I think he has social anxiety because he was not making eye contact at all.
Yeah.
But I just tried to tell him how much I loved him. That's the whole goal. And but there was a girl in the ADA line with me who was in a wheelchair. I think she was in a wheelchair her whole life. But she had gone to cons. Her whole family, they dressed up as Jedi because they had a photo op with Ewan McGregor that afternoon. The following day, they were all going to be dressed up as Doctor Who characters because they had a photo op with David Tennant. So like, this is a cool thing that they do as a family. Both daughters were in their 20s at that point, but the parents were just such good sports. They kept coming around. So the gal in the wheelchair and I were kind of swapping stories about who we've met, and she has every celebrity she meets sign her wheelchair. She said there was only one that actually charged her for an autograph on the wheelchair. And I forget someone I don't care about. I forget who it was. Oh, not Aaron Eckhart, somebody with a similar sounding name. But anyway, so we were in line to get the autographs from the various Guardians, which again, hot fucking mess of that they made. Holy shit. But anyway, so she gets up to meet Michael Rooker, who, as you guys have heard, I've met twice before. And she said to him, "Oh, would you like to sign my wheelchair?" And he takes his cane and puts it on the table in front of her. And he says, "Sure, but you got to sign my cane." And I mean, fuck you guys. Like, that is worth the price of admission right there. So Michael Rooker has her random autograph on a paint pen on his cane, and she's got Michael Rooker's on the arm of her wheelchair. But I mean, it was cool. She had George Takei. She had like the drummer from Maroon 5. Like her wheelchair was pretty decked out. It was pretty awesome. But these are, again, this is why we do these things. Again, I met all 3 April O'Neil. So the 2 actresses from the live action films in the 90s and the woman who voiced April O'Neil in the cartoon. And Judith, is it Hogue or Hogg? How do we pronounce it?
Yeah.
Hogue. Okay,
Hogue.
I thought so. Judith
also from
Hogue.
Halloween Town.
Yes, Halloween Town. Oh my God, y'all. My sister was freaking out about that, just about Halloween Town in general. Judith Hogue happened to have an empty, I'm revealing who I work for. She had an empty package of tissues on her table. And I said, oh, I happen to make those. And she said, oh my God, you don't understand. She goes, we've realized this is the easiest way to clean up our mistakes, especially with the paint pens. We take a little tissue, we put a little hand sanitizer on it, and it cleans up the paint pens really nicely. It comes off. And she's like, but I'm all out. And not a second after she made that comment, the guy who voices Donatello a couple tables down, Judith, do you have any tissue? I made a mistake. Oh, I'm out. So I said, girl, I make this shit. I will bring y'all some tomorrow. And I did. I stopped and I picked up some and I brought it to her. And the woman that was helping her out, the volunteer, I call them their handlers, the volunteer that was dealing with her line remembered me. And I said, oh, I don't want to butt in front of anybody. I don't want, can you just give this to her? She, no, she's going to want to talk to you. So she pulled Judith aside in between her autographs, these cats. And she said, and Judith remembered me. She remembered my name. She's like, oh, Elizabeth. And I said, here, I've brought the tissues. Oh my God. And I'm going to tell everybody I got these from Elizabeth. Elizabeth brought them for us. And all. So again, this is why we do these things. These are people from our past, our present, the future. And it's, you just can't beat it. It's a great experience. It's a once in a lifetime. And, again, so
and it's also great to be with people that get it.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
yeah,
we have our version of cons, which is celebrities. I tend to do more panels usually, but of course, thanks to New York, I didn't get any of those panels because of how that turned out. But usually we go to smaller panels, but we spent most of our time in line. But you're finding people that get you, whether it is celebrities you care about, whether it is anime or gaming. Like,
gaming's huge.
Those gaming people go to that gaming hall. Like, I'm using New York as an example. Yeah. And you never see them again.
Yeah.
Like, you see them leave when they close down the con for the day. But like, they can go there and they can play D&D with their friends. Yeah. They can find friends that are into Magic the Gathering or whatever the cool hip kids are playing right now. Yeah. But like, there are like all of those different things. And as I said, yes, we have reached towards more of the celebrities. This was a very celebrity heavy season for me, at least.
They can't keep doing this stuff. It's too
well, much. I mean, I gotta tell you, because I did some of the bigger names at New York, like David Tennant, Tom Hiddleston, a couple other, Karen Gillan was up there too. Like, they are expensive, but I gotta say, one person disappointed me, but she wasn't one of the big ticket items.
Feel free to share. I think I know who you're talking about.
Oh, you do, because you're part of the reason I got out of this. So one of the people, I am one of the people, unlike Liz, that will go back and meet certain people again. Like James
Although
Marsters.
I did do that this year, yeah.
Yeah, James Marsters is one, and he remembered me from 90s Con, and which that about I almost cried.
He didn't remember
I'm talking
me.
To him about this. Yeah, I'm talking to him about this. See, if you'd gone to 90s Con, would have been different. But we're talking about this like spinoff of Doctor Who that he was on, and he's like, yeah, I was so subversive. He's like, but I told you about this in March, and I went. He's like, yeah, you were there. I was cool. Like, thank you so much. But
that man loves to talk, though, you guys. I mean, if you want,
he does, and he will never stop. Because in Boston, I met him the last day, and there was like nobody there that Sunday because that was Labor Day weekend of 2021, where we weren't even sure what we were doing.
Yeah,
and I talked to him. I kid you not, for 20 minutes.
That's awesome.
Like, we were just talking, and then I got to meet Charisma, who I'd never met before. She was amazing.
She's lovely.
And then I wanted to meet Drusilla, because I'm like, I love Drusilla.
And she doesn't come around that much.
No. And Charisma is going more. We met David Boreanaz last year. So I'm like, let's try, because I'll never meet Sarah Michelle Gellar. Couldn't care less about Xander. He can jump off.
Breaks my heart.
Every cliff, but it's never going to happen for Sarah Michelle Gellar. So there's certain ones that you just let go of. Yeah. Like Patrick Stewart will never happen. So like these things I put in a box, and I deal with
I'm
later.
still going to try and manifest it, but yeah. But I also
we got to see him at the Picard panel, and I was in the same room as him.
Yep.
I cried because I was in the same room as him.
Breathe the same air as Sir Pat Stew. Yeah.
And he thanked us for being fans. And I'm like, I ain't gonna thank you so much.
forever. For the rest of my life. Yeah.
Drusilla, and I had already been warned by you, because you met her earlier, that she was going to try and pitch me her Blu-ray. Now, I don't have a DVD player, let alone a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not buying this. And also, what is it? Oh, it's a Joss Whedon movie. Oh, hard pass. So my friend Sarah Tess went ahead of me and showed her. She's like, oh no, like I don't, because you got for $90, you got the DVD
and an autograph.
Not the selfie, the autograph, and the that exclusive screening. That's what it was.
The invite to the screening.
Was that screen? What was it? Saturday or something? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was Saturday night, and I was over it. So no.
So I sent Sarah. I always send my friend ahead of me, and I go second, because I watch them interact, and then I can calm down. Because your adrenaline goes up, like you get all like you're trying to think of what you're going to say. So I always send her ahead of me, and she was showing her like, oh look, I dressed as Drusilla for Halloween. Oh, I really don't want that. Like, I don't have a Blu-ray player, and we're meeting my sister for dinner, like all of that stuff. Yeah. So now it's my turn to go. Guy tries to sell me the stuff, and I said, oh, I don't have a Blu-ray player. And then I'm like, oh, we're meeting friends for dinner in New York. And I've never been to New York, so I know I'm going to get lost. That was a lie. I spent like half my time in New York. But like still, the second, and I didn't have a picture of me dressed as Drusilla to kind of soften her, because she wasn't really interacting with Sarah Tess. But it was like, whatever. And then she gets to me. Anything, didn't look up. And I'm like, okay, I've met a lot of celebrities. I've met freaking William Shatner, and he did not disappoint me.
No, he was great.
The way that did. And I've never left a celebrity with a bad taste in my mouth, and I did.
I had I had the exact same thing with Ralph Macchio. It was before Cobra Kai came out. It was like they were kind of doing like the pre-press tour to get people excited about Karate Kid again. And he happened to have like a Hallmark movie out or something. And he was giving everybody, it was $3 to get this like exclusive download code to watch the film. And again, I prepaid for the autographs at the time. So mind you, this was probably like 6 or 7 years ago. I had prepaid for his autograph. So I had the QR code. I didn't have any cash on me. I was not bringing cash at cons back then, and they weren't really doing selfies back then either. None of, so there was really no need. So I just didn't have $3 for this stupid code. And cold shoulder after that. It was just, yep, here. Okay. Wax on, fuck off kind of thing, So you do get those experiences there. Cause again, at the end of the day, a lot of these celebs, they're there to push something, you know what I mean? Yeah. They're either there to make a buck, or they're there to push an upcoming project or what have you. So it is what it is.
Which is what was interesting about this con season, because the strike happened right before the first con we went to, because I had done 90s con and everything was normal. And when we did Terrificon at the end of July, that was the first strike con. And we were like, we don't know what to say to them. Like, they're telling us there's no picture. They may not have pictures for you to sign. Like, you may just have to get something signed. So I'm trying to think of like, what am I going to get? Like, I'm going to have to, like, I'm fine with buying artwork, but I'm like, I got to buy very specific artwork that they may not have, or I got to go to CVS and print out a picture from my phone. Yeah. So it's like I brought Rebecca to meet Rebecca Remains homeless, messed up. Rebecca
Remain O'Connell.
Yeah. Thank you. I had a photo that Ethan Peck and Anson Mount from Star Trek Strange New World had already signed in Chicago. So I have the photo, and I want to complete it because I love completing photos. Like, I love multi-picture, like
so
having
awesome.
all their autographs.
That's the best.
It's so cool. And it saves on space.
100%.
But I was like, I need to finish this. But I was so nervous that she wouldn't sign it. And they did, but it was interesting because they can't talk about their work. So it was fascinating to talk to them and listen to them talk around it.
Yeah.
And like, she talked about what it was like to work with them on set.
Yeah.
Because they're all so close and everything. Meeting Terry Farrell, who was Jadzia on DS9.
Jealous.
I have never, like, I could put you on my shoulders and we wouldn't be as tall as her.
Oh, wow.
And she talked about like what it was like. There was this one episode that I got the still of signed, and she was like talking about that. And then it was interesting because other people like at Dragon Con were asking me why I liked the show. Like,
oh, that's cool.
let's face it, they were mostly Star Trek people.
Yeah.
They're like, why did you come see me? Like, why is this so important to you?
Oh, that's
and David
nice.
Tennant asked me which doctor was special to me, and I had to tell him not him. Like, I loved him. He's a great doctor. But I love Peter Capaldi. I think he was just amazing.
Yeah.
And he's like, Pete's a good guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Pete. But it was interesting to have those conversations.
Yeah.
Instead of them like shoving the work down our throats.
Right.
And everything. It was just different conversations.
Yeah. I will say, when I met David Tennant, because I'm still, again, there's too much fucking content. I have not, but barely scratched the surface of any Doctor Who's. But I went up to him and I said, I've got to tell you, your character in Jessica Jones really fucked me up. Really fucked me up. And he said, that's the appropriate response. He said, if you responded in any other way, I would be really disappointed in you as a person and my performance. But so if it, and again, you guys, there's so much content, but if you ever get a chance, those little spin-off Netflix Marvel shows that they had before Disney Plus took over of everything, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Daredevil, it's worth a watch. Check it out. Also, Charlie Cox is a friend of producer Mike's, so little shout out to Daredevil there too. But
who was apparently in cosplay.
God damn it. Yeah, he dressed up as fucking Bluey.
Him.
I guarantee you I walked by him. I'm like, so fucking mad. Some guy was
dressed as Bluey. She's
so
like,
mad
well, that's one of the new cosplays. And I'm like,
so mad about it. So
like,
mad.
that would have been.
I guarantee
Can you imagine that get?
I guarantee I walked by him.
Like, oh yeah, no, he was right on the show floor. You would have seen him more than I did. Yeah. But I know I saw Bluey walking to the Marvel booth.
Pissed me right off.
So mad.
It's not right. It's not right.
So mad.
And you walked by Kevin Smith. Did you walk by Kevin Smith? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Oh no, I'm the one that walked face first into the two Critical Role people. Like, I almost took them both out last year.
Yeah, that's how I met Michael Rooker the first time I was in his way.
Well, that's the thing, like, because you're like, it's the definition of overstimulation.
Yeah, right.
And I'm somebody that's worked in customer service for 20 years. Like, I used to be in front of a school group of 100 kids, breaking them into smaller groups.
Yeah.
Like, I am used to noise. I'm used to a lot of people, but it's just everything is coming at you. It's noise. It's people bumping into you. And I'm so short. Like, I was getting there. And it's too bright, and then it's dark, and then it's bright, and it's just like, there were many times, like, there were the escalators in New York Comic Con. I was great when I was with you. I always lucked out and got a chair, but when I was without you, like, it just didn't work out. So I would sit under the escalators on the floor, like in the corner.
Yeah, you gotta bring a stool. I'm telling you, it helps out. I know, well, because I'm getting too old to get off that. Seriously. And that cement does you in after a while. Tell me about it. I don't care how cute you want your outfit to be. No. Wear comfortable sneakers. Yeah. Sensible footwear. 100%. If you want to cosplay, that's great, but find the most comfortable cosplay you can. And bring snacks. Even with the gummy bears. Yeah. Even with the surgery that I had, you're just going from line to line to line. And like I said, the schedules can change. You just don't want to miss anybody. I barely eat. I have breakfast before I go to the con. I have the snacks that I carry with me. If I'm lucky, I'll pick up a sandwich or whatever for like $10 or some ridiculous bullshit. But I do not eat ever during the
No.
day. And then I go to the hotel or I go home and I have dinner then. But this fucking cat, I'm telling you right now, don't do it. You guys, I apologize. Sailor, could you? Okay. Anyway, this is my life.
But yeah, snacks, power bars, water bottles.
Yeah. Rhode Island tried to take my water away. I was like, bitches, I have a medical condition and it's not opened, so don't even try it.
Yeah. Well,
but
no,
now I know
we
how to hide
went
it in my bag, so I did that instead.
I'm so proud of you. But I went in to the first day we went in and like we went to the skating rink.
Yeah.
Because that's the crazy place. Anybody in there, like we got done. Like I could see the Ricci goodbye because I never went back in there. I'm like, she'll go to another con.
Her son took our photo. It was so cute.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, but I went he wanted security. To participate.
I had my iced coffee that they let me take in, and I had a full water bottle. I went out to the ATM. And I came back because I was not paying those fees. My bank was right across the street. And I came back in through security and he made me empty my water bottle.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I went in with a full coffee. Like,
right.
It was what security guard you got, because the next day they didn't care less. They're like, oh, it's full. And I'm like, oh, I can do dump it. They're like,
right. And it was just surprising to me because I went to Boston with one. I went to New York with one. So I didn't think anything of it. No. And for them to say that to me, I was like, I fought them hard on it too. I was like, no, I have a medical condition. It's not even fucking open. Don't try me. And thankfully I got somebody who was sympathetic and was like, no, she's fine. Like, yeah, what the fuck? But
yeah, we live by our reusable water bottles. Like,
yeah,
worst comes to worst, they make us empty it. We just go in and refill it. But like the problem is like at certain places, they don't have the bottle refillers. So you're sitting there at the bubbler, like pushing the button, like waiting for it to like dribble in.
Right. Yeah. But, you know, again, these are the trials and tribulations. These are the things you go through to meet your heroes, meet the celebs.
Make friends along the way.
And make friends along the, that's so nice. Again, I happened to be very, very fortunate. And with the exception of the people that canceled their appearances, I met everybody that I intended to meet and then some. There were some extras that I just happened to have the time for. I was able to get in their line and it worked out like that. But I'm telling you, this cat, you guys, sorry, I do apologize, but she is trying me. Would you stop? Okay. I think we're going to end here because I have to go murder my cat. Oh my goodness. But again, you guys, like I said, the biggest issue for me right now is scheduling. I do have people on deck. I do have people that want to talk. It's just a matter of making it happen. So Abbie, I do appreciate you coming in the last minute, saving my hide for this week. And we will continue to talk some more. And again, sorry if you guys don't care about these con conversations, but this is my kindred spirit here. This is like my first like con friend that understands what I do, why I do it. And thankfully she goes to all the same cons that I go to. So it's really nice to have somebody to touch base with and be like, what the fuck, Gina Gershon? So thank you again. I do appreciate you so much. You guys, this was Try Not to Curse, and we'll catch you next time.